Yes, well, I'm back on the streets of Vientiane this morning. I needed some money, of course. Gee, they're all different, the cities. I set out and I'm trying to find a currency exchange. And I'm in the capital city here, so I've walked around the streets, couldn't find one. For about half an hour, couldn't find one. Nobody knew where they were. Eventually found one, and the lady said, "Oh, so sorry, sir, we only exchange US dollars and Thai baht and a few others." I said, "What about Australian dollar?" "Oh, sorry, sir, we don't exchange that." So anyway, that's a lot different than Luang Prabang, where there were plenty of currency exchanges around, and they were very happy to do the exchange. So I eventually went and found a bank, and the bank rate was 14,581 kip to the Australian dollar. In Luang Prabang it was 15,400 kip to the Australian dollar. So you've got to go to a bank here in the capital to do your exchange. So a little bit vary, they all vary a bit. She asked for my passport. She gave me documentation here in Vientiane, whereas in Luang Prabang, they didn't ask for anything. They gave you no documentation. They just did the exchange. So the government's got no knowledge of any transaction there. Which brings me to my subject today, as I'm spending my last few days in Vientiane. But the obvious problem here, and a lot of it, if you come to Laos, a lot of it is the black money. Now, meaning that is the hotels, not all of them, but many of them, don't want to accept online booking and payment online. They'll take the booking, but when you get to the hotel, they say, "Oh yes, you want to use your credit card. Oh, that'll be 3 or 4% fee." And I say, "No, hang on, I've booked it online. The price is set." And they say, "Oh, sorry, sir, no, you could go and get kip, and you're better off paying kip, currency." So that's all well and good for the tourist, but that's the problem with the Laos economy. The government's missing out on a lot of revenue. Money being paid in kip, and of course if you don't have a paper trail through a credit card transaction, then there's no record of anything, and the government's losing out on all its revenue through taxes. And that appears, and I was talking to a bloke in the bar, Australian guy in the bar last night about it, and he said that's one of the biggest problems. The Laos government just simply doesn't collect enough taxpayers' dollars. Too much money on the black market here. And then of course they haven't got money to spend on infrastructure, like the roads are an absolute, look, I'm not exaggerating, the roads in Laos between the cities are an absolute disgrace. And it's because of that, I suppose. They're not getting the revenue through normal areas that they should be. And if you haven't got the money coming in through the government within hospitals, footpaths, roads, everything is lacking funding. And until Laos can tighten up on it, then I just think it's going to be a problem, because even though I'm back in Vientiane, I would have liked to have gone south. But the trouble is that the lovely train, which is part of the Laos-Chinese Railways Agreement, it's a beautiful train, but it doesn't go past Vientiane, it doesn't go south. So if you want to go down south, you've got to spend 7-8 hours on a minibus on a rotten road, and I've done too many of them already this trip, on bad roads. I just couldn't bring myself to do it again, see? So, and if you don't want to do it on the bus, then you've got to catch the plane, which is expensive. So these are the things which are going to hold Laos back from competing with other countries in Southeast Asia for tourists. And it's wonderful here. There's very few laws and regulations. I was talking to the guy from Western Australia in the restaurant last night. He said, "Oh, it's great living here. You know what I mean? It's free and easy. It's totally opposite to Australia with its regulations and over governments and everything we've got there. But yeah, they do need revenue coming in. And your hotel, when you come to Laos, your hotel is your major expense because everything else is cheap. Going on the bus or going on the train, food, alcohol, everything is very cheap. Your number one cost is your hotel, which they're not as cheap as Cambodia. They're dearer than that, the ones that I've been staying in. And they don't want credit card. And they try and put you off the credit card by charging an exorbitant fee. So it's all working against the government and the economy here, and picking up and improving. So that's probably my only area where I think things need to improve in Laos. Because if they don't improve, there's certain people, probably middle class travellers, who will say, "Oh, it's too hard getting around, the roads, it's the buses, it's not enough, the train doesn't go far enough," and all this type of thing. And they just won't recommend people coming here. So the backpackers love it because it doesn't really affect them. They do it on the cheap anyway. But I'm talking about people my age and my vintage who want things a little bit easier and have got a bit more money to be able to pay for things like that if they can get value for money, So that's my little first up observation on Laos, how things can improve. But of course, unless the government regulates and actually monitors the hotels and payments and bookings and all that, well, then nothing will change.